In our last toolkit, we learned some important vocabulary. We learned what a polynomial is and also some words, monomial, binomial, trinomial, to name polynomials. In this toolkit, we're going to learn some other words that we can use to name polynomials: constant, linear, quadratic, and cubic. But we cannot learn those words until we know what degree is. So let's talk about the degree of a term. The degree of a term is the sum of the exponents of the term's variables. So we're adding together the exponents of the variables. If there is only one variable, like in this case x squared, only one variable, we don't need a sum. It's just the exponent of the variable. So the degree of x squared is just the exponent of 2. X squared has a degree of 2. If there's more than one variable, that's when you need the sum. So xy to the third does not have a degree of 3. Y has an exponent of 3, but x also has its own exponent. X has an exponent of 1. So the degree of this term is the sum of those two exponents. The sum of 1 and 3, 1 plus 3, which is 4. This next term, 4q, has only one variable. That variable has an exponent of 1. That means the term 4q has a degree of 1. We don't put an invisible exponent of 1 after the 4 because we're only talking about the exponents of the variables. 4q, degree 1. If there are no variables, the degree is just 0. So 0 variables has a degree of 0. If it helps you, you can think of 8 as 8 times x to the 0 power. X to the 0 is just 1. 8 times 1 is 8. If that helps you to remember that the number 8 has a degree 0, great. If not, just remember 0 variables, degree of 0. For a polynomial, you can find the degree of each of the terms within the polynomial. So for this polynomial, we have 3 terms: x cubed, xy, 3y, and each of those terms has a degree. X to the third power, x cubed, has one variable. The exponent on that variable is just 3, so we have a degree of 3 for that term. For the next term, we have 2 variables, 2 exponents. We add those 2 exponents together, so the degree of this term is 1 plus 1, which is 2. The last term has just a single variable. That variable has an exponent of 1, so the degree of that last term is just 1. This polynomial right here, x cubed plus xy plus 3y, is an example of a polynomial written in standard form. Here, standard form means that the terms are written from highest degree, degree 3, to lowest degree, degree 1. So if a polynomial is written in standard form, the largest exponents, the highest degree, will be first. The smallest exponents, the lowest degree, will be last. To write this example, 8x plus 3 plus x squared in standard form, we need to find the degree of each term. So 8x has a degree of 1, 3 has a degree of 0, x squared has a degree of 2, and then we write this polynomial in order from highest degree to lowest. So highest degree is going to be the degree 2, x squared. Next degree, degree of 1, is 8x, so x squared plus 8x. And then our lowest degree is that constant 3. So x squared plus 8x plus 3 is another polynomial written in standard form, highest to lowest degree. We are now ready to name polynomials by degree. To name a polynomial by degree, you need to find the degree of each of the terms, and then you name the polynomial based on the single term with the highest degree, or based on the term with highest degree. So we're not adding up the degrees, we're finding the degree of each term and then naming that polynomial based on that term. So for this polynomial, x cubed plus xy plus 3y, we found the degree of each term, and then we would name this polynomial based on a degree of 3. That's the highest degree term. For this one, x squared plus 8x plus 3, we found the degree of each term, and then we would name this polynomial based on a degree of 2. That is the degree of the highest degree term. So here's the words. If the degree of the highest degree term is 0, that means there are no variables, and this is called a constant. So a polynomial with degree of 0, meaning no variables, is called a constant. If the highest degree term is a degree of 1, like in this case, did I draw that there? If the highest degree term is a degree of 1, then we call that a linear polynomial. So I can find the degree of each term. 3x has a degree of 1, 4 has a degree of 0. So I'm going to name this polynomial based on the degree of 1. Degree of 1 is a linear polynomial. Here's an example of a quadratic polynomial. A quadratic polynomial is what we call a polynomial with a degree of 2. So we find the degree of the first term 2, the degree of the next term is 1, the degree of the last term is 0, and then we're going to name this polynomial based on the degree of that highest degree term, which is 2. So a polynomial with a degree of 2 is called a quadratic polynomial. Finally, if the highest degree term is degree 3, that is a cubic polynomial. So degree 3, degree 2, degree 1, degree 0. The highest degree term is x to the third power, or x cubed. So this is a degree 3 polynomial, which we call a cubic polynomial. Those are our words. Degree 0 constant, degree 1 linear, degree 2 quadratic, degree 3 cubic. The hardest thing for students to remember is that we are not adding all of the degrees together. So the degree is not 3 plus 2 plus 1. It's not 2 plus 1. It's the degree of the highest degree term. So 2 and 3 in this case. There are special words for higher degree polynomials. I think they are quintic and quartic, or quartic and quintic, but we don't use those words. We just call them 4th degree or 5th degree, for example. So if the highest degree term is a degree of 7, we just call that a 7th degree polynomial. Here are some examples. Let's practice using this vocab. So 2x plus 1, what we're going to do is find the degree of each term. 2x has degree 1, 1 has degree 0, and then we're going to name this polynomial based on the degree of that highest degree term. So 2x degree 1, 1 degree 0, so we're going to name this based on a degree of 1. That's my highest degree. A degree of 1 is called a linear polynomial. So this is a linear polynomial. In particular, it's a linear binomial. Here we've got degree 0. That is clear. There are no variables. When there's no variables and we're naming by degree, this is just constant. It's a constant polynomial. And in particular, it's a constant monomial. Let's look at this one. 4x squared has a degree of 2. Negative 3x has a degree of 1. My highest degree term is 2. When we have a degree of 2, that is called a quadratic polynomial. This one in particular is a quadratic binomial. Finally, here we have x squared y. That has an exponent of 1, so x squared times y, 2 plus 1, that has a degree of 3. Minus xy has a degree of 1 plus 1, which is 2. 7 has a degree of 0. So my highest degree term, degree 3, and when we have a degree of 3, that is called a cubic polynomial, and in particular, a cubic trinomial. Now we are able to name polynomials in 2 ways. We can name the polynomial based on the degree 0 constant, degree 1 linear, degree 2 quadratic, degree 3 cubic, and then also based on number of terms. 1 term monomial, 2 terms binomial, 3 terms trinomial. Mastering this vocab takes some practice, so you'll practice naming by terms, naming by degree, and then naming by both. Like we talked about, linear binomial, constant monomial, quadratic binomial, cubic trinomial.